The Board
Recording in progress.
The Board of Trustees of Crystal City Independent School District will meet in special session at 5:30 p.m. Monday, February 24th, 2025 in the Administration Building Board Room 613, BW, Zavala Street, Crystal City, Texas 78839. On roll call.
Mr. Reyes Espinosa,
Here.
Mr. Sammy Houston, absent. Mr. Cruz Mata,
Here.
Mr. Victor Bonilla III,
Present.
Mr. Gabriel Espinosa,
Here.
Mr. Vince Martinez,
Here.
and Mrs. Peggy Young.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Call the meeting at what time? 5:30?
5:30.
5:30 on the dot. Okay, at this time, we'll take a reflection. Number 4, audience to patrons, sir.
No one, sir.
Number 5, action item, discussion action to consider approval of the Benito Juarez Elementary and Crystal City High School targeted improvement plans
Mrs. Garcia will come up to
for
the podium.
the
Oh, I'm sorry.
25-26 school year.
Mrs. Garcia will come up to the podium along with Ms. Puente and Ms. Uravazo to present their targeted improvement plan for the 25-26 school year.
What was junk?
5:31, Mr. Houston, right.
Good evening, school board of trustees. What you have in front of you, what you should have in front of you are our Benito Juarez and elementary and Crystal City High Schools targeted improvement plans. They look like this. I took them to make them a little bit bigger because I believe I also included what is going to be submitted in ISAM through the TEA secure site. It's the exact same thing, but mine was just a little bit bigger. And just
So I don't think I have one.
I think it's in the packet.
Oh, in the packet. Oh,
It's in the packet.
I think it's in front of us.
7.
Packet.
Page-
Thank you.
I don't have the packet, so I don't have the page numbers. But I believe the first one you'll see is the Benito Juarez Elementary.
Page 7.
And the first question is, what is your school improvement strategy? We had to select other because the other items that were available were items where we would have to invest a significant amount of money. And we decided not to because most of those programs were either also tied to a grant or we had already done a lot of that work. And then in conversations with Region 20 stated that we were going to do some of that portion of the work through what is called FLIPS training that we are already going through, and we had our second meeting today. So we went ahead and selected other, and for Benito Juarez Elementary, give a 1 to 2 sentence description of your strategy for school improvement. In meeting with TEA through February 13th TEA visit with Benito Juarez and Region 20, after conducting our classroom observations, one of the things that we noticed was it was just checking for understanding. It was the teachers asking the students the higher order questions, and it was just something that we need to tweak in our lesson plans, which is something that can be done and made habit with time, with more practice. So Benito Juarez Elementary will focus on prioritizing observation and feedback for checking for understanding through formative assessments. We will present the strategy and begin utilizing formative assessment trackers at our PLCs in order to track all student mastery of the lesson and track all teacher use of the strategies to be observable during observations and be discussed during feedback. Name at least one evidence-based intervention that is incorporated into this strategy. We will utilize a book study on Paul Van Brick Santoyo's Leverage Leadership 2.0, a practical guide to building exceptional schools. to strengthen our effectiveness on observation and feedback and formative assessments for checking for understanding. What reallocation of resources, time, funding, and staffing are needed to implement your school improvement strategy based on your ESF diagnostic? The resources that we will need will be just funding for the purchase of the books and time to work on our book study and implement the practices. This targeted improvement plan also asked for curriculum. So grades 4 through 5th reading will use the Amplified Texas Elementary Literacy Program in English and Spanish. And for math, 4 through 5th, STEM Scopes, Texas Math and I believe for math, we are already using STEM Scopes.
Do we already have those in the district?
Yes, sir.
Amplified, yes. And then Ms. Uravazo had her meeting with her staff and a parent on February 21st, 2025 to solicit public feedback. And now we're at the last portion, which is board approval of this plan. And then for Crystal City High School, we also selected, and for Crystal City High School, the 1 to 2 sentence description of our strategy for school improvement is that Crystal City High School will focus on observation and feedback for curriculum implementation support as our school improvement strategy. Through our observations and feedback, we will focus on ensuring that all instructional efforts align with rigorous standards and instructional goals. And we are going to utilize the same one evidence-based intervention, which will be the book study on Paul Bambrick Santoyo's book, to strengthen our effectiveness on observation and feedback for curriculum implementation and support. The reallocation of resources will be the same, that we will be needing resources to purchase the books, which we've already done, and time to work on our book study and implement the practices. The curriculum for reading grades 9 to 12 is the TEAS resource. And for math 9 to 12, it's STEM Scopes Math Texas. And Ms. Puente also had her meeting on February 21st with her staff to solicit public feedback.
So you said on the Paul, you already order or you already have?
We already ordered them.
Okay.
So what was used previously to scopes? We have been using the same thing, or this is something new, or, because I'm not,
The STEM Scopes Math?
the
For the
STEM
plan
scopes,
itself.
Texas Math, and I think they're using it for the high school come in?
Texas Math, because STEM Scopes, they have STEM Scopes, they haven't been utilizing, high school has not been utilizing STEM Scopes. They've been focusing on Loman. And in conversing with Region 20, Loman did not meet the rigor that STEM Scopes did. STEM Scopes was approved by TEA as a vetted curriculum for school improvement. Loman did not.
Okay, let me ask now, they had training on STEM scopes, Texas Math?
High school has not gone through the full-blown training. They've covered bits and pieces, but not the full-blown, but that's why this plan is for 25, 26, because that's what we will focus on during the summer.
And then the dates that were met, I kind of have this odd feeling that we're just checking somehow just to be in compliance somehow. It kind of feels like that in a way. I mean, I feel that, I don't know, it's just my opinion.
No, I get the same thing. I mean, you know, the timing, we're here on the 24th trying to approve this for the 28th. Also that I saw with the, you know, the Benito Juarez, you guys put out a post to solicit public feedback from the parents, but it was put out on the 20th, trying to solicit feedback at 7:30 a.m. the next day. You know, so not too much time to get enough feedback, right, or see from the community.
This has been a work since last year, since we had our ESF diagnostic report. Most of this stems from the ESF diagnostic report that we received back, and it's tweaking observation and feedback, which is what we received back as a need for the campuses, in both campuses as well. So it's not something that's new. It is something that we've been working on. We've had coaching as well. coaching on observation and feedback, maybe not, maybe we're missing some critical pieces, but that's why we're putting that into the plan, because we ourselves need to become more effective in, we know the observation part, we need to become perfect in our feedback conversations. But this has been work that we've been doing since last year.
Now, you said you guys chose the other, just, for, I guess, cost effective, so it's not any cost. Were there other programs that you would rather have chosen?
Some of the other programs we didn't qualify for because they were tied to a grant. The only other program would have been the, what is it called, Texas Instructional Leadership, and that was going to pretty much cost about $12,000 per person that was going to be trained. And most of that work is already it stems from that book, from the book that we have here, Paul Bambrick Santoyo's Leverage Leadership. It also stems from his other book, Get Better Faster. There's a lot of work from his other book, Data Driven, which we've covered somewhat in the past. We've had training, but that training was about three years ago.
How many people would have to get trained at that $12,000 cost?
The three of us.
And then y'all would facilitate the training to the rest of the,
Yes.
Can I hear from the principals? I mean, just 4 or 5 minutes, I mean, about your experience with this. I mean, TA came and talked to you guys. I mean, what was the conversation? I mean.
So we did meet today with the trainer. It was.
Region 20 or TA came?
It was Osana Gonzalez, I'm not sure, Region 20.
Region 20.
She did come, I did get, some good, it was a flips training in San Antonio. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend that one, but I did get an update. Baxter went in my place.
Okay.
And then he did share that information with me. It gives us a lot of leadership strategies. Today we did focus on the observation part, where we can implement something quickly and not take so much time, because what we were doing was doing observations, giving feedback, but it was more in a written form through DMAT. And today her strategy is you do a 4-minute, just meet with the teacher, give her, but we have to do the pre-work, and then just talk to the teachers and share with them what they can implement quickly to help them in the classroom.
None of the instructional coaches that we had were observing this or had issues with it or took note of it or?
No. So the instructional coaches, when they conduct a walkthrough, their lens is different, Peggy, because they go in strictly for instruction, not for fidelity and things like that. So there is more instructional strategy type of feedback.
So that brings up another question, were instructional coaches involved in this process?
No. No, this is purely the leadership staff. It's even last year when we met with our ESF coordinators from Region 20, they wanted to meet with the campus principals, with the DCSI. They did not want to meet with any other staff. And they went, we had a pre-meeting, and then they conducted their campus observation, which was an all-day event, different days. And they spoke to focus groups, which were comprised of teachers, some leadership staff, and some campus, I believe they met with the campus leadership teams, and certain teaching groups. And then afterwards, they looked at everything from student arrival to campus procedures. They went into the classrooms. They conducted observations of the classrooms. They had meetings with the instructional groups, the instructional teams, campus leadership teams, and then they looked at lunch. They also looked at campus dismissal. She looked at everything. And then we had our post-conference, and then she presented our final findings.
How many days were they here?
One each day.
one in each camp.
This was last spring for Benito Juarez Elementary, it was last spring. So they, Deborah, can't remember her last name, Rosenbaum, spent the day with us from Region 20, and she did exactly what Ms. Garcia just described. And later on, we got a report, Effective Schools Framework report, and it told us, here are your strengths and these levers, and here are some areas that you could improve upon. And so based on that, we also incorporated some of that work into our campus improvement plan. And so we've been rolling out those strategies this year through this extra leadership training that we attended, the flips that Ms. Fuente mentioned. We're learning more about how we can be more effective principals. And that's what this book, Leverage Leadership, is all about. I read the introduction already, and it has research there that says, they conducted this research study in Miami-Dade County public schools, and the author found out that most of the principal's time is being focused on organizational and administrative type of tasks, that only about 4% of their day is spent on instructional type of leadership, and this is across the country. So that's where that book comes into play. It's how can we leverage our time better so that we focus more on instruction than other tasks. And I can tell you that just a few days and working with Osana Gonzalez from Region 20, already today, my assistant principal and I learned a wonderful strategy that's gonna cut our time in half or even more in giving teachers feedback immediately, just through one 4-hour session. It made such a huge impact.
So, but that's basically why they come to try to give you ideas and suggestions and everything.
And resources.
And resources.
The resources that she gave us.
They're gonna finish the book by tonight.
When do you start?
Sorry?
Are you gonna finish reading the book?
I wish I could. I'm gonna try my best to get through it so that we can implement those strategies quickly. And Osana has already, is an expert in this area, so she's gonna be that person to, answer questions and help us.
So she's gonna be like the contact person.
She is. So
Yes.
next meeting, she's gonna come in, we scheduled the week after spring break.
March 26th.
She'll be coming in, and at that time, she's going to share with us the feedback portion. Today, we focus on the observation, and next time it's the feedback. And then we're going to go and implement that feedback in the classrooms. She'll come back about, I think, a week to 2 weeks after that, and we're going to then go into the rooms together with her and conduct walkthroughs together. And then we'll come back and we'll discuss again, are we seeing the same things? And what kind of feedback would we give our teacher based on what we saw? And like I said, just today alone, I could see the impact in one 4-hour session. So I'm really hopeful that this is gonna make a difference. And also I wanted just you to know that something that I discussed with the staff at our meeting was that this is directly tied into the teacher incentive allotment as well. Because, we want to make sure that our teachers are closing gaps, right, that our students are growing. And so the more relevant our feedback is, the better they'll be able to address those gaps. And something that we found out when we looked at our data review report that we got from TA was that across the district, we could all benefit from calibrating our observation and feedback. So that's a plan that we've already put in place for the teacher incentive allotment, where I'm going to be visiting high school. Ms. Fuente will come to my campus and we'll go to the other campuses like that. Ms. Biones and district office will come to our campuses as well. And that way we can ensure that we're all on the same page, that we're evaluating our teachers, fairly across the board, and that we're all seeing the same things.
And
That helps us grow.
most importantly, to impact student performance. It always goes back to student performance.
On this, Mr. Ronas, we need to approve it. Will it be sent to TA?
Yes, it has to.
Or just?
It
for-
has to be submitted into TA, but it's ours to implement.
So I just got
Any
one.
question, Mr. Mata?
So with the selection that was made, you guys are comfortable with that? And it wasn't forced upon you?
It was not forced upon us, and I am comfortable with it.
With the selection of the,
Whatever selection, yeah?
I'm comfortable with it, it'll help us. We do concentrate on other goals in our plan, but this one's more targeted and it should help directly impact the students and the staff.
So how quickly will we see improvements?
We should, I mean, we had the meeting today.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, so we should, start implementing the observation sheet that.
I guess, one question, I guess,
Yes.
you guys are using the same book at Benito Juarez, and high school with the Paul Bambrick's. Do the strategies tie into the same? Because at Benito Juarez, you have a certain age group, and the teachers have a different mindset than the high school. And I just want to make sure that the strategies that they give, do help high school along with Benito Juarez and the other campuses. Just because the teachers are thinking different, the students are thinking different, and, maybe the observations that are given should be a little bit different or anything. I mean, I just want to make sure that you guys are getting what y'all need at the campuses, right?
I think it focuses more on our leadership and less on the specific content. Yeah, it's just how we can improve as leaders and give the best feedback for our teachers, across the district. It should be the same.
It's going to be on what to look for, which is one of the things that we found. It was what to look for, and a lot of it has to do with the higher order thinking questions. It's providing teachers the question stems for the students as well, and sentence stems for students to be able to respond and be able to reach that higher order thinking that's going to be required of them for the STAR test and EOC assessment as well.
And something that Ms. Osana Gonzalez, repeatedly tells us is that this is a process. We're in the building phase right now. This spring semester is about building, these strategies and giving our teachers an opportunity to kind of get their feet wet. But once we explore, we're kind of like in the explore phase. Once we get through this phase, then we can come back in the summer. She'll be visiting in the summer, and we'll finalize what this formative assessment checklist is going to look like. So it's a process, and we're starting it, and we're going to implement with our teachers, of course, buy-in, because we need to make sure that we do this collectively, that we work on these assessment rubrics or checklists with them, so that we're all in it together.
Any more questions from the board? Ms. your recommendation.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees consider the approval of Benito Juarez Elementary and the Crystal City High School targeted improvement plans for the 25-26 school year as presented.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Cruz, second.
Second.
Second by Sammy Houston. Questions, concerns? Not all in favor? Passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
At this time, we're going into closed session. The time on it?
5:53.
Recording stopped.
Session is authorized by the Texas Government Code, Section